guy was an attorney. Well, he had a law degree, but he wasn't working as an attorney. He was an ex-athlete, a former athlete, and the guy stayed in the gym. Like the guy was built like a superhero. His wife was cheating on him with a guy that was shorter than her husband, and just roly-poly dad bod dude. And so and the guy was wealthy, and I'm sitting there like, nah, you know what? There's more to it than that. I think it has a lot to do with if a woman, and this is just from my observation, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but if women have had a lot of guys, they tend to not be satisfied. And, I found some of that out talking to some of the sex workers I interviewed. I don't know if you want me to talk about that, but.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, well, some of the cases I worked on, I've actually worked on a ton of, for attorneys, a ton of homicide cases from the civil side of things. And so when I say a lot, I've worked over 100 homicides over the past 17 years in Florida. So one of these apartment complexes, I met a witness and a nice young lady, and we started talking more and more, and I found out that she had been an adult film actress and that she was currently working as an escort. And so I started talking to her, and because I'm an investigator, I'm curious. And I always like to know how things work and how things happen, and how it started and that sort of thing. That's just one of my it's a curse of mine. But the more I talked to her, the more she revealed different things to me, and we had some graphic conversations. And one of the conversations we had was about sex, and I was like, so what are your criteria for sex? Does a guy have to be like huge? You know what I mean? She said, no, has nothing to do with that. She said, I need variety. She said, I have to have different guys to be, she had a boyfriend who knew about her work. And then, she would see 3 to 5 guys a day, 5 days a week. And then she would still go to sex clubs on the weekends. And so she just enjoyed, for her, it was about variety. And I wound up she actually introduced me to several of her friends, some of who were also adult film actresses. And they all worked as escorts as well too. And I took them all out to a really nice dinner, and just let them talk. And so there's been a lot of data put out there saying that having a high body count, or what I call a lot of mileage, has nothing to do. It does not affect a woman's later relationships, and they do. They have a profound effect from the ones I've talked to. And again, now these are on the extreme end of the spectrum as far as how many numbers, so please take that caveat. But a lot of them, they all said they enjoyed the variety. There were a few guys they actually liked seeing, but a lot of them they didn't, but they loved the variety. They loved having sex with a lot of guys. And again, you go back to the sex work thing, it's really, really surprising, just because some of these young women, some of these young ladies came from backgrounds that were actually, well-to-do, and families that had great money. And so, they got into it and stayed into it because they wanted to. Some women get into it because they're supporting some sort of habit, a drug habit typically. But a lot of them, especially more and more, just they're there because they like it. And that was an eye-opener for me. So I was somewhat naive when it came to that. And a lot of these things have been an eye-opener. There's a lot more hidden sex work that goes on than people realize.